So yeah, my charity shop story. Um, yeah, there's a charity shop near me. It's a Bernardo's, and it's like a big collection. So it's a bit like a big donation center. It's absolutely huge. They've got about probably 1,500 records in a sort of cubed sort of bookcase, like IKEA type thing. Actually, it's not cubed, no, but it looks like an IKEA sort of arrangement. And yeah, I go in there maybe once or twice a week, and I've had some really good records from there. But recently, it seemed rather stale, and I've noticed a lot of records getting sort of mixed around. And I went in today, and I got down on my knees to the bottom shelf. I thought, well, I haven't really been through these properly, and over half of them are turned the wrong way, because I don't really sort of like flicking through them, so I tend to look at the side and I look at the spines, and I couldn't really see much there. And I thought, oh, wait a minute, I know what I'll do. I've got 10 minutes to spare, and I'll do them a favour. I'll take all the records out and I'll make sure they're the right way round. So I did that, and what do you think happened? I found a load of classical records that I didn't even know were there. Yeah. So I'm going to show you a couple of photographs. One is what it looks like before I sorted it. You can see that lots of records are the wrong way round. Yeah. And this is what it looks like now. After I've sorted it out, that took me about maybe 20 minutes. I got the whole lot out. I turned them all the right way around, and I ended up with a load of classical records. And at £1 each, here's what I bought. Let's go through them. Now, after I've shown you these, I'm going to show you what I didn't buy, because there were at least double this number. And I'm going to show you what I didn't buy, either because the condition wasn't good enough, or, I just decided it wasn't worth paying £1. So let's go through these. So we've got a CFP here, Brook, two fantastic violin works, the Violin Concerto No. 1 and the Scottish Fantasy, Alexander Gibson and Maurice Hasson. Yep, that's a nice record. Not really worth anything, but nice picture there. Looks like Loch Ness perhaps. And lovely works. I've listened to the Scottish Fantasy tonight. It's not the best recording, I must admit, and it's not the best performance. Just to sort of name one or two, we've got Oistrakh, great performance on Decca, and there are other better performances than this, but still, it's still worth listening to. So there we are, there's a CFP. Now, I was quite pleased with this. There's nothing groundbreaking here. There are no sort of massive surprises, but anyway, Mahler Symphony No. 7, Klemperer, and this is a CFP gatefold. I think it's a reissue of an SAX. So it appeared on SAX. There's Klemperer, Symphony No. 7, Mahler, and it's in superb condition. And I think if you can't afford the SAX, but you want the performance, I think this will be fine, absolutely fine. So there we are. So that's a nice one. Now this one here, Casals conducting Schubert's Unfinished, Brahms Variation on Theme by Haydn, CBS. Now look at that price. Sale, £1.35. This is a 70s LP, and in those days, well, as a basic rule of thumb, I think that, say 1974, £1 then is like £10 now. So if you imagine, if you went into a shop and you saw that for £10, you probably wouldn't want to buy it. But in those days, that was a good price for a record, £1.35. I remember towards the end of the 70s, a full price LP was about £4, £4.50. So, around about 1975, £1.35, that would have been a good price for that. Okay, let's keep going. We'll soon get through these. All right, you're probably wondering why I bothered paying £1 for this. Well, I'll tell you why. It's a reissue on SPA, World of Great Classics, Decca, of the very first SXL 2000, SXL 2001, Alwyn conducting Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, Capriccio Italian. To be honest with you, there's only one work I like here, and that's the Capriccio Italian. The Slavonic March, March Slav, I absolutely loathe that work. It's one of the silliest pieces of music I've ever heard. Tchaikovsky's 1812, I used to like it, but I've just heard it too many times, and it's almost become like a cliche to listen to. But the Capriccio Italian is absolutely superb. But yeah, this is actually a Dutch pressing. There it is. It looks like a Jubilee, doesn't it? It looks like a Jubilee reissue, but it is actually Dutch SPA, and that's probably going to sound really good as a reissue. So yeah, paid £1 for that. I paid £1 for all these. Now this one here, Holster Planets, Malcolm Sargent, that's on an EMI Eminence, and we have this on a. This is available on ASD white and gold, which is not really a valuable white and gold. You know, probably you could probably pick it up for £30 on eBay, the white and gold, and this might actually sound better because I know that as a 70s, mid to late 70s pressing, it's probably going to be a better condition. And if you want that performance on a good reissue, I think this is a good one to have. Yeah, so there's the Eminence label, and it's also the original inner sleeve for what that matters. These Eminence records aren't really worth anything, but you know, nice to have, nice to have, and nice to listen to. Now, Tchaikovsky Pathetique, it's Yasha Horenstein, London Symphony Orchestra, and the label here looks like it's an EMI budget label called Fanfare, so I'm not really familiar with that one. I wonder what that's going to sound like. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the record and the label. It's interesting to see the label, and really it's just a plain yellow label with black print on it. There we are. Condition looks good, looks absolutely fine. So as for the Pathetic Symphony, to be honest with you, I used to like it 30 years ago, and then I got to the stage where I found the first and last movements a little bit too self-pitying to listen to. I'm not one for self-pity. People generally cry for themselves, not for others. And this sounds to me like Tchaikovsky unashamedly crying for himself. And you know, I'm not really that keen on the symphony. My exception is the third movement. Is absolutely, you know, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic to listen to that magnificent third movement. Yeah, so I would recommend having this record just to listen to the third movement. But I mean, personally speaking, I'm not that keen on the symphony, but it's a big, important and famous Tchaikovsky symphony, and no doubt many of you will disagree. Okay, so here we are. This is a reissue of a Deutsche Grammophon, Pines of Rome and Rimsky-Korsakov, great work, Capriccio Espagnol. I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's actually a better work than Tchaikovsky's Capriccio Italien. That Rimsky-Korsakov work is absolutely phenomenal. And of course, the great Night on a Bare Mountain, Mussorgsky. Marzel conducting. This is taken from a DG. I generally find these Heliodors sound quite good. And it's stereo, of course. It's not mono, stereo. And there we are. I think it's pressed in the UK. It doesn't matter. Yeah, made in England. So, paid £1 for that. Okay, Herbert von Karajan, Beethoven Symphony No. 1 and the Overture, Egmont and Leonora No. 3. Now, I must say about the... Okay, I mean, I like the symphony, Beethoven Symphony No. 1. It's a nice jacket, and I think these performances are pretty good. Karajan, all of the Philharmonia recordings that he made in the 50s, whether... he did some operas, he did a couple of Mozart operas, and you know, he did quite a bit of recording work for EMI in the 50s. And we've got the great Leonora No. 3 overture there. And I don't know if you've listened to Leonora 1, 2 and 3. It's really fascinating to hear the way that Beethoven progressed with that overture and brought it to the height of perfection which he did in the third one. It's interesting to hear how he added to it and how he changed it to make it the truly great overture that it became. I mean, I say truly great overture. In reality, as an opera overture, I mean, it's too big and important, and it does too much for it to be, because really an opera overture should be shortish, should kind of summarize musically the themes. It should have introduced the themes, get the audience in the mood for what's about to come. This goes too far. It's so good that you don't need to listen to anything else. I mean, you know, after listening to that overture, you really need to sit back and just absorb it, because that was never really used as an overture for his opera Fidelio, and the overture for Fidelio is absolutely phenomenal anyway. But the Leonora Number 3 overture goes way beyond what an overture should do. It's too good a piece of music. Yeah, so any of you that think that I'm just, you know, Mozart's my main man and everything, I'm a big Beethoven fan as well. I wasn't going to buy this. I've seen it before. Healy Hutchinson Carol Symphony. I don't even know that composer. And I don't know, why did I buy that? It's in really good condition. Vaughan Williams is there. Fantasia on Christmas Carols. Well, again, you know, for £1 and it's in really great condition. Green sleeve is a good budget price label. Oops. Got my microphone, if you'll just excuse me while I put it, there it is. Okay, so Casals again, conducting Beethoven Symphony Number 7. I've never actually seen that record. I'm not that interested in Casals as a conductor or even a performer, to be honest, but you know, what are you going to do for £1? You've got a CBS stereo there, and the jacket's in absolutely superb condition. You're not really going to leave that behind, are you? Unless you've already got it. Okay, we've got Joachim here on a Heliodor, Symphony Number 4, and Leonora Overture Number 2. So yeah, I was talking about Leonora Overtures already. I wish I had more time to talk about those, but you know, maybe for another video. You know, Beethoven really laboured over the opera Fidelio. He took a long time to write it. It is a great opera, but Mozart was a natural when it came to opera. He could compose an opera like The Marriage of Figaro in 6 weeks. Beethoven, I believe, took years over Fidelio, slaving over it. And I mean, Mozart just had so much talent. Beethoven had talent too, but I think that he had to work a lot harder than Mozart did for his masterpieces. Okay, talking about the great man, Beethoven Symphony Number 3, the Eroica, and that is Malcolm Sargent conducting. Again, it's probably taken from an ASD. Fanfare. You know, I've not really seen it. It says Music for Pleasure on the back, so I don't know if any of you know about that. This fanfare sort of logo and everything. And when did these come out? Were these sold in the UK? I suppose they were, weren't they? Yeah, 1961 EMI, first recording. So Malcolm Sargent in stereo. I think that's going to be fine. Now this one was probably the only unusual record I found today. Szymanowski on the Polish label, and it's a couple of string quartets. Yeah, it's the Villanov Quartet, and I found that quite interesting. This was the only one that sort of made my eyes pop out a little. I wouldn't, you know, it's so, well, it's unusual. Very rarely see this label. This is the sort of Polish national label, I think. What is it called? Musa. That's probably not the pronunciation, but okay. Stereo, made in Poland. I think that's interesting, and yeah, I don't really know these works at all. I don't even know the works of Szymanowski, so it will be a surprise to me. There's an insert inside, a text sheet, which probably explains, probably in Polish, I guess. Let's see if it's in English as well. Who knows? It may well be. Yeah, in fact, it probably will. I'm sure it will be, because obviously, yeah, that's really good because there's a lot of information there. Of course, it's in Polish, but it's also in English. So yeah, that's good. Okay, and Shostakovich, Fifth Symphony, the Great Fifth Symphony, and they're calling it a famous recording. It's like a sort of newspaper. It's like in a sort of newspaper style. This the Great Performances series. I don't know what you think of that. I've got a few of them in my stock. So yeah, I'll be interested to hear what Bernstein does with Shostakovich's Great Fifth Symphony. There we are. There's the back, so you can read all about it. Finally, yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? My Fair Lady, Audrey Hepburn and Rex Harrison. There we are. You know, I like this musical. It's a superb musical, and this is the original. No Julie Andrews singing on this, but it doesn't matter. Some of my favourite songs on here, like I'm Getting Married in the Morning and with a little bit of luck, that kind of thing. And you know, it's just a really good, sparkling musical score that I fancy having in my collection. So I decided to buy it, and a really nice picture there of Rex Harrison and Audrey Hepburn from the film. That's all for now. Thank you very much for being patient with me, and yeah, sorry about the technology rant, but yeah, that soundbar is going. I'm going to try and sell it and buy some records. Okay, bye for now.